Don't you hate it when that happens? I seem to snap them quite regularly.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome everyone here to Columbia City Hall, City Council Chambers. We would like to say welcome to all the visitors who are in the audience this evening and also those who may be watching on our YouTube live stream. We're glad that you're tuning in and joining us this evening, and we're looking forward to a very important and productive meeting for the City of Columbia. Tonight, we do not have any public hearings, which is a little bit of a rarity, so we will move on now into our regular meeting for February 8th, 2024, and we'll begin with a roll call. Mr. Jablonski.
Here. Mr. Green.
Here.
Ms. Hardison.
Here.
Mr. Marshall.
Here.
Ms. Wiles.
Here.
Vice Mayor McBroom. Here. Mayor Mulder.
Here. Let the record reflect all members of council are present. We'll now move into tonight's invocation, which I will have to confess I'm not sure who's providing the invocation. We don't have anybody providing the invocation. Vice Mayor, you did a great job today at the Public Works Department.
Hey, I'll do it.
If you don't mind, if you'll provide the invocation and then remain standing, and I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you're able to stand, please do, and the Vice Mayor will provide tonight's invocation.
All right, let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for this people in this room, the spectators and the people on the council. Help guide us through our decisions that we will honor you. And thank you for the getting us through this weather that we've had. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please turn to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. And thank you, Vice Mayor, for that invocation. All right, we'll move on now to the approval of agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Green.
Aye.
Ms. Hardison.
Aye.
Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, the agenda is approved. Next, item 5, presentations. We do have one presentation this evening. Item 5.1, quarterly presentation by Will Evans, President of the Maury County Chamber and Economic Alliance. Mr. Evans, not that we're keeping score here, but I think this counts as the third time today that I'm seeing
It is.
So lucky for me.
As well as Mr. Massey, and second time with
That's right.
Vice Mayor.
So we are keeping score here.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Will. Look forward to your report, and the floor is yours.
Sure. It's nice to be up this quick. This is good. So you guys do have a brief presentation, a few slides, and I will go through that quickly. On past the title slide to the second, you see our recent February economic development dashboard. At the top, when it comes to the active projects, I'll note that we still do have a very healthy pipeline with about 18 there. If you are comparing that to January or even December's economic development dashboard, I do want to point out that number has gone down for active projects and potential jobs and capital investment. That's just some housekeeping. When we turn into a new year, we'll go through our pipeline pretty closely, and things that are maybe more on the cool side that we haven't seen, we'll go ahead and wipe out, so that is nothing to be alarmed of. All the other statistics on there are right in line. Our unemployment rate, most recently December, remains the same as it was last year at 2.5%. So no really additional information there. I will note, not on a slide, we have welcomed a new employee at our organization that joined us right at the beginning of the year, Rupa Deloach, who was actually with our organization previously several years ago. who left to work for the Nashville Chamber for a little while and do some other stuff. We've been able to bring her back on our team, so she will be serving as an economic development consultant, currently taking some of the project management and also enhancing our ability to do some data work. So we're happy to have her on staff. You may see her as you're working with the organization or interacting with us as well. Moving to the next slide, some news that did come out this week. We alluded to it at our annual meeting last week as well. SmartAsset.com has recently released their 2024 rankings for incoming investment. This is where they look at various factors. They look at GDP growth, new building permits, business growth, and then as an aggregate of all those is overall incoming investment. So I'm happy to report that for the first time ever, Maury County actually ranked number 1 out of all 95 counties, and not just one of those categories, but all of those categories, including overall incoming investment. If you pan out to a national scale where there's over 3,000 counties in the United States, Maury County ranked number 3 for overall incoming investment, the aggregate score, as well as number 7th in the individual category for business growth. So this is indicative of the growth that we've seen over the last several years. This does take into account 3 years of data, so this isn't just a blip on the radar. This is showing sustained growth, and it illustrates that we are now being seen on a national scale when it comes to some of these statistics. So that's exciting. We do understand that there are challenges with that, as we have been talking, and are definitely, this is something we need to be proud of, but obviously as we are continuing to move forward as a community, making sure that we are growing in the most responsible way possible. Let's see, and then on the final slide, you have our 2024 plan of work key priorities. This was actually approved by our board this morning, so this is the first time we are presenting this publicly. So this document is really used by our organization to focus in on, as we are looking at the programs we're offering or looking to do new things, we need to make sure that it fits within the parameters here, which ultimately tie into our mission at the top of the document. The first column there, develop our local economy and community. That's focusing on a lot of the economic development work that I spent a lot of time talking to you all about. Then the connect column is connecting our stakeholders with opportunities for growth. So that is our chamber focused mission. So creating programming for networking, for enhancing the transformational progress of the community, and then strengthening relationships with our key stakeholders. The last two columns, impact our community in a meaningful way and grow our organizational resources, are really organizational wide. So when we're saying we want to impact our community in a meaningful way, we want to focus in on things like driving support for public education, advocating for issues that are important to the business community, a livable community, and then also with it being election year, we're going to focus in on the local and state elections and making sure that our stakeholders are aware of the candidates that are out there. And then for our organizational resources, to summarize that plain and simply, is making sure that we are operating in the most efficient manner as an organization, that we have the resources, the staff, and the culture we need to be successful as an organization. So I would definitely encourage you guys to look through that, and happy to talk in more detail. But to keep everybody on track, I'll stop there and take questions if you have any.
Any questions for Will? Mr. Coleman?
Just one. Thanks for being here, Mr. Evans. Good to see you. My only question is just the work you're doing is phenomenal, obviously. I would just ask, can we start to maybe get a second page that shows the historical data just charted a little bit, so that way we can kind of see? I know you have the comparisons that we can make here on the unemployment rate, but for instance, just like how's the housing prices, the average, gone up?
Okay.
And additionally, it would be great to see who is under us in the average cost of living. So obviously, we're the lowest number up there. It'd be interesting to know just what cities are kind of right behind us.
Gotcha. And last year we did introduce a KPI dashboard that does take some of that into account, and some other metrics. We're actually working to enhance that now that Rup is back on the team, so that information should be forthcoming this year. So
excellent. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on adding your team member back. I know that she's been able to do some things even while she was gone on some contracting basis with some data, and so it seems like having that in-house now will be an even greater value. I also want to point out this morning I attended the Maury Alliance board meeting, and it was a great crowd, a great room of folks in Columbia this morning for this first board meeting of the year, and I had an opportunity to provide a sort of a state of the city And so I was able to highlight in front of the board of directors for the Murray Alliance State of Columbia, which was relatively easy to provide, given that we had strategic planning this past week and had a good conversation about our initiatives and our plans and processes going forward. The other thing I would point out that I mentioned this morning that also would be remiss if I didn't say here, that many of you were able to attend the annual meeting for the Murray Alliance, and it was a phenomenal event. Back at the Memorial Building this year after being at Puckett's for some time. And each time I walk away from that event, I walk away just so proud of what we have here in Murray County and Columbia. And the Murray Alliance, you have been there every step of the way. And so I'm also proud that y'all could have such an exciting and incredible annual meeting. And thanks for your good work in that regard.
Happy to do it, and we appreciate the support of this body.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Evans? Hearing none. Thank you, Will.
All right.
We appreciate you as always. You are free to leave if you so like.
Thank you. I'll take you up on it.
We'll move on now to Section 6, Organizational Business. Item 6.1, approve the minutes of the January 11, 2024 regular City Council meeting.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Goldman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Hardison? Aye. Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 6.2, approve the retirement benefits for Ronnie Sheeter, Building and Grounds Maintenance.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 6.2? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?
Aye.
Mayor Mulder?
That item is approved. We now move to Section 7, the consent agenda. These are items that are deemed non-controversial and requiring no additional debate or discussion. If any member of council wishes to pull any item from the consent agenda, please advise at the conclusion. Otherwise, I will read these collectively and we will vote on them collectively. Beginning with item 7.1, approve disbursements for the month of December 2023 in the amount of $7,828,526.40. 7.2, approve payment to Murray County to provide funding for the Murray County City of Columbia Animal Services Facility for the second quarter fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $50,000. 7.3, approve the annual renewal of liability and auto insurance with public entity partners in the amount of $481,911. 7.4, acceptance of annual reports of the City of Columbia Employees Retirement Plan Fund and the City of Columbia, Tennessee Retirement Health Insurance Post-Employment Benefit Trust for the period ending December 31, 2023. 7.5, acceptance of the railroad and utility ad valorem assessments for the tax year 2023. 7.6, approve and authorize the mayor to execute a contract with Commonwealth Heritage Group, LLC for consulting services to conduct a historic inventory for the City of Columbia, Tennessee in the amount of $44,998.35, encompassing wards 2 and 3. 7.7, approve change order number 1 with N&S Waterproofing, LLC for the City of Columbia Parking Garage Rehabilitation Project, which increases the contract amount by $216,230 and adds 90 days to the contract time. 7.8, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a contract between the City of Columbia, Tennessee and Tennessee Farm Bureau Federation for storage of the city Christmas tree. 7.9, approve bid award and authorize the mayor to execute a contract with KCS Building Group for public works facility improvements in the amount of $884,055. 7.10, ratify an agreement with Quality Management Services, LLC in the amount of $4,500 to include reimbursement of travel expenses to provide strategic planning consulting services to the City of Columbia.
Mayor. I think I sent an email to council today. The actual amount was $4,686.52. Ms. King had not submitted her out-of-pocket expenses at the time we got the original bill, so we'd ask tonight that you amend this.
Can you say that one more time, the amount, Mr. Massey?
$4,686.52.
Just remove the amendment.
Okay, we will remove 7.10 from the consent agenda. Move on to 7.11, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a 2024 letter of agreement between the City of Columbia, Tennessee and Columbia Main Street and the Tennessee Main Street Program, confirming participation in the Main Street Program and the annual accreditation process with the National Main Street Center. Item 7.12, approve and authorize the purchase of 3 Ford Police Interceptor utility all-wheel drive vehicles using the statewide contract form of Murfreesboro Ford in the amount of $137,946. 7.13, approve an amended contract for Freedom Hill Land Management in the amount of $54,400 for additional mowing of Riverwalk Park and Ridley Sports Complex. 7.14, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the non-exclusive use and occupancy permit between the City of Columbia and the Columbia American Little League for the season 2024, Ward 4. 7.15, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the non-exclusive use and occupancy permit between the City of Columbia and Muletown Baseball for the 2024 season, Ward 3. 7:16, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the non-exclusive use and occupancy permit between the City of Columbia and the Columbia Soccer Association, Ward 1. And item 7:17, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the non-exclusive use and occupancy permit between the City of Columbia and Columbia Girls Fast Pitch Association for 2024 season, also Ward 4. So that's your consent agenda, which includes items 7.1 through 7.9, takes out 7:10, and then includes 7:11 through 7:17. Do we have a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that consent agenda is approved without 7:10, and I will now go back to 7:10 and read it this way. Ratify an agreement with Quality Management Services in the amount of $4,668.52 to include reimbursement of travel expenses to provide strategic planning and consulting services to the City of Columbia. It's been moved and properly seconded, and can we just get confirmation, Mr. Massey, that that is the correct amount, $4,686.52?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded at 7:10. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll now take the vote on that. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. We will now move on to Section 8, Administration. Item 8.1, award bid to Judy Construction for the wastewater treatment plant expansion in an amount not to exceed $95,279,796 and authorize the mayor to execute the contract documents upon their completion and review. I'll make a motion for item 8.1 to approve.
Second.
It's been properly seconded by the vice mayor. Any discussion? Let me just say a couple quick things. This sort of reminds me of when we do something like a major zoning ordinance overhaul. By the time you get to the end, it seems like a little anticlimactic because there's been so much work done, and then here we are with just a simple vote to approve it. But it did occur to me this morning on my way to work that tonight's meeting for this body was somewhat historic in the sense that we have an opportunity to approve a very significant capital improvement project for our city's infrastructure that will have a shelf life of 40 plus years. In addition to that, it is providing us an opportunity to cast a historic vote in the sense that this is the largest capital expenditure in the City of Columbia history. That is not lost on me, for sure. I applaud the city manager and his team, including the wastewater department, for their due diligence in getting us to this point. They get to an agenda, and it seems simple by this time, but it's far from simple to get us here. We know there's still now a lot of work to do once we get past tonight, but that's the fun work because that's the work of construction and overseeing a project that we know in the end will be worth it, not just for today, but for decades from today. And so I just thought that I would provide those comments because I think this is a historic vote, and I'm proud always to be able to vote on all of these items, but especially proud when you have a vote such as this. Any other discussion on item 8.1? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, 8.1 is approved. Next item, 8.2. Approve and authorize the mayor to sign the amendment number 2 in the amount of $1,902,250 to the agreement with J.R. Walford and Company, Inc. for engineering services on the wastewater treatment plant expansion, contract number 2111.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Don't worry, I'm not going to say the same comments, although I know these are somewhat related. But I do want to point out that we do have representatives tonight who are present for this vote for questions, should there be any, but otherwise to show their support and just their availability from the construction team, as well as J.R. Walford. And so we appreciate the attendance of those that are here as well. Any other discussion on 8.2? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, 8.2 is approved. Next item, 8.3, request from Murray County School System to waive approximately $12,490 in engineering fees for the building of the new elementary school in Columbia.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Green, properly seconded by Councilmember Marshall. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski, take the vote, please.
Mr. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Green.
Aye.
Ms. Hardison. Mr. Marshall.
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles. Vice Mayor McBroom.
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item 8.3 is approved. Next item 8.4, approve a one-year renewal of agreement between Muletown Rec LLC and the City of Columbia in the amount of $100,000. It's been moved and properly seconded. Just a couple of quick things on this. First of all, many of you know, all of this council knows that 3 years ago, the City of Columbia entered into an agreement with Muletown Rec Center that allowed that allowed City of Columbia employees to access Muletown Rec facilities free of charge in exchange for our payment from the City of Columbia in the amount of $100,000. In exchange for Muletown Rec agreeing to keep the pools open, particularly the indoor pools. If you recall at the time, we had this room packed of supporters for keeping the pool open and for calling on the City of Columbia to do all that it could to do so. This body felt an obligation, but more importantly, understood that there was a large number of folks in this community, a number of constituencies that really rely on that pool and utilize that pool on a regular basis. Most notably, our local school swim teams. That swimming pool, the indoor facility, has become a home court, if you will, home pool for a number of our public school swim teams, including Whitthorne Middle School, Central High School, and other schools in the county. And I think we're real proud of the fact that our investment over the last 3 years has kept those pools an option for our young people. In fact, I'm told that even some of our private schools are able to utilize those Muletown Rec facilities as a result of the pool being open and for their own swim team. And again, for that, I'm very proud. As you also know, however, there's been an opportunity that has been presented to the City of Columbia by the ownership group of Muletown Rec to enter into conversations about the potential acquisition of Muletown Recreation Center. In addition to being approached on the City of Columbia, the Muletown Rec has also approached Murray County as well. A few weeks ago, after a number of conversations between David Baxter and with the county mayor, we did have a meeting at the Muletown Rec facilities to sort of tour the facilities. The chairman of the budget committee for the county commission, Ms. Grody, I believe is her name, was present. And we had an opportunity to really sort of see what the facility, the condition, and just explore conversation. I say all that to say that I'm going to make a motion tonight that would include an addendum to this renewal of agreement. So what we have on the agenda 8.4 is basically to agree for one additional year of the agreement that the City of Columbia has had with Muletown Rec, which will include the fact that the swimming pools will remain open and available to the public for use. And we'll also include the fact that the city employees will have access to the facility without charge. However, I'm also going to request an addendum to that agreement that Muletown Rec would be presented with that would provide the City of Columbia a period of exclusivity with regards to the potential purchase of the building until the end of this calendar year, so that we know that we can begin to explore some due diligence and the potential of acquiring this building without fear of the building being sold on the market while we are investing those dollars. In addition to that caveat, I'd also like to put in the addendum, Mr. City Attorney, a caveat that to the extent that a purchase agreement is entered into by and between Muletown Rec and the City of Columbia, that the $100,000 payment for this year's renewed agreement would be applied to the purchase price of the $5 million that has been agreed upon by the seller should there be a purchase agreement that ensues. If we don't enter into a purchase agreement, in that case, we obviously would not recoup the $100,000 other than the fact the pools will remain open and our city employees will retain that access during this period. Before I ask for a second for that motion, actually, maybe I should ask for a second for that motion.
Well, you have a motion on the floor. You're going to need to ask the maker of that motion to amend their motion. You
Okay.
already have a motion on the floor and a
Okay.
second to.
All right.
That's-
All right, that is correct. I should have probably asked for
I'd like to amend the motion.
to incorporate the amendment that I have articulated. Will that work?
Yes.
Okay. So there's Mr. Green has requested an amendment to his motion to incorporate the language that I have articulated. And is it properly seconded? Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall seconds that. So there's a motion as amended on the floor, as stated, with the proper second. So we are now in the discussion item. Let me just add one or two more points on this. Number one, just like the city of Columbia has been a partner in this situation with keeping these pools open for our public school systems, I don't think that there would be any way for us to move forward on this if we don't have other partners in this process as we do move forward. And so I mentioned this morning at Murray Alliance that we're hopeful that the county and the county school system will see the value here, and this provides us an opportunity to lock in the price of $5 million and speak with our county partners on the fact and value that we have here to keep these pools open and to provide these pools with accessibility to our school system. So that's the first piece, and I look forward to those conversations with our county partners. The other piece is I really think that our city staff is going to have its hands full on this in the due diligence phase, because I do think that we will need to conduct significant due diligence to make sure we understand what it is we're getting into. I would anticipate, Mr. Massey, that there will be costs involved with the due diligence and inspections, but I think that those costs will be necessary in order to truly evaluate whether or not this makes sense for the community. I think there's certainly strong community support for this, but we have to make sure that we're taking that support. At the same time, we're looking at what this would mean to the city and what it means to the taxpayers. And so I do not want tonight's vote to be an indicator of an absolute this is going to happen. I want tonight's vote to be an indicator that this body understands that there is some value here and that there's an opportunity here, and we don't want to lose the opportunity without at least having the ability to truly provide the due diligence that should be provided on a project such as this. As we know, this would add a new building to our parks inventory. I know Mr. Reagan is already working hard on this as we speak, but there's just no possible way to build a building at this price and this cost. And so to have the opportunity here to add this to our inventory, I think presents itself enough to where we could at least move forward along these lines. Any other discussion on the motion as amended?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiles.
Question. Yes. Regarding the feasibility, in a year's time, 12 months passes quickly. Do we feel like that's an adequate amount of time that a final decision or determination can be made pending what it's going to take?
Councilmember Wiles, we think we could probably have a good handle on that within 12 months. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions on that item or any other discussion on item 8.4? Hearing none, we'll take the vote.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom, Mayor Mulder.
Aye. 8.4 is approved. Next section, resolutions 9.1, resolution 2404 to authorize the city of Columbia to apply for Tennessee Housing Development Agency Home Grant Program funds in the amount not to exceed $750,000.
Move for approval. Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Green, properly seconded by Councilmember Coleman. Any discussion on 9.1? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom, Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Next, section 10, ordinances, item 10.1, second consideration on ordinance 44-7 to amend ordinance 41.
9.2.
I'm so sorry, 9.2. 9.2, 2405, resolution number, tax corrections.
Move to approve.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McBroom, Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Now we're at section 10, ordinances, 10.1, second consideration on ordinance 4487 to amend ordinance 4176 as amended by ordinance 4390 to amend the Connect Columbia Plan regarding the framework, land use, parks and greenways, transportation, and access management plans for the city of Columbia, Tennessee.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded on that item. This is sort of what I was talking about earlier. There's been a lot of work that has gone into this document, and here now at the second consideration, it seems sort of anticlimactic, but it should be pointed out that this is another monumental vote that we're taking on something that will impact the trajectory for our growth and progress over the next 10 years and really beyond, frankly. And kudos once again to the good work from staff, Mr. Keltner, your office, Mr. McCarthy, everyone and anyone in your office that's put in the work for this. And also the volunteers and the community input that we've had, which has also been significant. Any other discussion on 10.1? Hearing none, Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom, Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 10.2, first consideration of ordinance 4493, an ordinance amending Title 18, Chapter 1, Section 18103.2 of the Municipal Code by deleting such section in its entirety and substituting a new section 18103.2 with reference to sewer service charge and establish March 14, 2024 as the date of public hearing.
Move to approve.
It's been moved, properly seconded. 10.2, any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Splonsky.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom, Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Next item, 10.3. First consideration, ordinance 4494 to amend ordinance 4176, the Connect Columbia Comprehensive Plan by reclassifying the land use of designation for tax map 89 parcel 21 located at 200 Oakwood Drive from suburban corridor to suburban neighborhood and established March 14th, 2024 as the date of public hearing. This is Ward 2. And I do have one individual who signed up to speak on this item, Ms. Lewis Sloan. All right. Welcome. You'll have the floor for 3 minutes if you will introduce yourself by your name and your address.
My name is Louis Sloan. I live at 3101 Anfield Way in Franklin. I'm representing the applicant requesting the rezoning and the comp plan change. This comp plan change is technically might not be needed now with the new comp plan that you just voted on. We discussed it at Planning Commission, and I'd like to defer to Kevin and Paul on whether or not this truly is needed now, because this is referencing the old comp plan ordinance. So my understanding is that under the new comp plan that was just approved, this is no longer needed, but I'll leave that up to Kevin and Paul to let you guys know. And other than that, I just want to let you know I'm here to answer any questions if you guys have them.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. I do think that probably does beg the question, Mr. Massey, of Mr. Keltner, if he could answer that for us.
Yes, Paul, if you could come forward, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening. He is correct in the adoption of the plan there that you voted on. Naturally changes the comp plan for this particular area from corridor to just suburban, which the suburban does support the request for the rezoning portion of it. So the comprehensive plan amendment itself would not be needed at this time.
So in that case, we have a motion and properly second, I guess.
Mayor, since they're both first consideration, my recommendation would be to go ahead, if you're inclined, to approve it on first consideration. And then if you were to not approve the comp plan amendment on second consideration, this would still be in the hopper to approve this. And that way they would not be without relief. If you do approve the comp plan, then you can.
But I thought we just did. That was second
That
consideration.
was second consideration.
Oh, is it second? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This one's just one meeting behind the comprehensive.
Where I thought you were going, Mr. City Attorney, is that we could go ahead and just approve this on first consideration, and then next month they could just request that it be withdrawn.
Yes, sir. We could take it off if that.
You could, or you could,
Clean it up now.
yeah, or they could ask, since he said that, he can ask to have it withdrawn now.
Okay. Mr. Slohan, would you like to request that, given the action on 10.1, that your request under 10.3 be withdrawn?
Yes, I do believe that'll be cleaner. So
Okay,
yes, I'd
that's-
like to request that.
Thank you. So now do we need to take a vote on that, or is it considered withdrawn from the
If he
agenda?
withdraws it, it's with,
Even though there's an outstanding motion and second?
they can withdraw the motion.
Okay, we're still on discussion. So, Ms. Wiles?
Just a clarification, again, all of this. So what we had intended to do tonight now is no longer needed due to the change in the plan. So with regard to density and those kinds of things, there'll be no changes as it exists right now in
Right.
what he's presenting.
He just
what they're
requested
presenting.
this change in case the comp plan was not
All right,
approved.
okay, thank you. That's what I need. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Jablonski, who made the motion on this item, 10.3?
I did not have a motion or a second.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
So there has been no motion. So the request has been to withdraw. So you're good.
Thank you.
10.3 is withdrawn. Thank you. Sorry for that Robert's Rules of Order exercise, or lack thereof. 10.4, first consideration ordinance 4495 to amend ordinance 4400, the same in the zoning ordinance of the City of Columbia rezoning tax map 89 parcel 21 located at 200 Oakwood Drive from CD3L to CD3 Neighborhood Character District and establish the date of March 14th, 2024 as the date of public hearing. Item 10.4, entertain a motion on item 10.4 under first consideration.
Move for approval.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on item 10.4's first consideration? Hearing none, we'll take the vote.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye. Item 10.4 is approved on first consideration. Next item, 10.5, first consideration 4496, an ordinance to amend ordinance 4400, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Columbia by rezoning tax map 100D Group E Parcel 9 located off or at 807 Athenaeum Street from Neighborhood Character District to General Urban Character District and establish the date of March 14th, 2024 as the date of public hearing. I do see that we have one, maybe two individuals that are here to speak, probably only if requested or needed. So given that, we'll entertain a motion on item 10.5 on first consideration.
Move to approve.
Been moved, properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved on first consideration. Next item, 10.6, first consideration of ordinance 4497, amending ordinance 4400, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Columbia regarding articles 8.36 and 8.515, including any Scrivener errors throughout the same and establishing March 14th, 2024 as the date of public hearing.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Item 10.6. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Final item under this section, 10.7, first consideration ordinance 4498 to amend the fiscal year 2023 budget ordinance number 4464, providing for revisions to the general and wastewater funds and establishing March 14th, 2024 as the date of public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jablonski.
Mr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Hardison, Mr. Marshall,
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles, Vice Mayor McBroom,
Aye.
Mayor Mulder.
Aye, that item is approved. Now we're on to other business. Any member of council have any comments that they wish to provide for the good of council? Just have a couple quick things that I want to point out. First of all, I know that's already been said regarding our thanks and appreciation to the Public Works Department for their good work. But today we did have an opportunity to thank them in person and had a great lunch at the Public Works facility. And it's always a pleasure to visit one of our departments at their facility. And so we really enjoyed that, Mr. Dwyer. I hope your team did as well. And of course, we know we're thankful and grateful for all of our city departments who played a hand during the recent event. Winter weather event. And so since this was the first formal meeting that we've had since then, I wanted to make sure that was in the record that our appreciation and gratitude is sent to the Public Works team for that good work then. I mentioned that this morning I had an opportunity to give a State of the City on behalf of the city at Murray Alliance. It was a very well-attended event, as mentioned, and I point that out just to say I'm always honored to be able to speak on behalf of our city council to any member and constituency in our community. And this morning it was the business community, and there was a lot of good things to talk about thanks to the good work of this council and all of our city employees and staff. And so that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware. And then also we have the reminder for February 12th, 2024, we'll have the Fire Station 1 groundbreaking. So hopefully everyone can make it. And then finally, today we also had an opportunity to have a ribbon cutting for another new business, but it wasn't a new business. It was actually an expanded business, relocating business. And it wasn't just one, it was two. Ollie and Finn's and Bad Idea Brewery. You may have heard of them. They're now located on Garden Street. And I got to thinking how most of you know that those are two businesses that actually started in the Arts District. And I got to thinking how the Arts District serves as a little bit of an incubator for small businesses, which is exactly what we envisioned when we talk about the Arts District. Is we want businesses to thrive there, we want businesses to stay there, if that makes sense, but we also want businesses to go where it makes the most sense. And so I see that as a win for the Arts District because that's where those two small businesses truly began. And that's an indicator that our Arts District is serving as an incubator for small businesses. And I just appreciate the vision of the focus on the arts and the Arts District that this council's had long before any of us have been serving. Maybe going back to Tony Green's service, but in any event, it was a success today to see that. So any other? Oh, and I should also point out a great strategic planning session meeting on Monday. It was a really good opportunity to get together and really sort of see the progress that we've made and the progress that is to be made. And I think when we have those opportunities, the city is better for it. And really appreciate everybody's participation and discussion in that regard. Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of quick things. It came to our attention just late this afternoon that the Noon Rotary Club is talking about sending out invites. Gerald, do you know about this? The Rotary clock has arrived. And so we hope to have it erected right back. And I believe 3 weeks of the day is what the Rotary Club is thinking about. Is that the 29th? Yeah, so we'll let you know if that gets confirmed. But appreciate the club for their donation. Also, too, Mayor, I think we have some folks here from Leadership Murray tonight in the current class. You might want to recognize them.
All right. Yeah. Well, okay. You're being put on the spot here. You want to provide a speech? You only have 3 minutes.
Might ask them to stand up.
If you would please stand and just
Tell
so
us
we
who they
can.
are.
Do you want to tell us who you are?
John Hilligeist, I live in Riverside. It's great to connect the Alliance folks from there and see the good work being done, here with this body.
It's Matt Harms. I operate Farmers and Sage on 30.
Well, thank you. And I would say congratulations to the two of you. It's almost like winning the lottery because you've just participated in one of the quickest meetings that we'll have. And if you'd have been here last month or maybe next month, it would be far longer. So congratulations to both of you. Anything else, Mr. City Manager? We do have from Mr. Marshall the CPWS memorandum. Really appreciated Jonathan Hardin's update this week at strategic planning, but we do have that information. We were told also that the electric charging station should be underway very soon. And then you also probably saw that the downtown apartment complex began its first phase this past week. So another monumental thing happening for our downtown district in that regard. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Mr. Jablonski, take the vote.
Mr. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Hardison? Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles? Vice Mayor McBroom?